You're on.
Good evening, Epaw fans. It's Scotty the Bronc McLeod here with the Axeman now. I feel absolutely. Look, it's been an awesome season now, but I just wanted to thank you for the privilege to actually host the show tonight.
Mate, how could we have anyone else?
Well,
when Broncos have made the grand final and the elusive ticket is alive.
I feel like the host with the most, to be honest, especially with the Bronx girls and boys in the grand final and the big dance this weekend.
You tell your employer we needed you for that Canberra and Broncos grand final because I had no voice left after 94 minutes.
Oh, look, we'll get to that. But look, what did you think of the season overall?
I thought it was an outstanding season. I tell you what, congratulations on being the Monster Cup official winner. I think you only got there by 4 points, which is half a round. I pushed it to the line as hard as I could, but you know what really good, ladies and gentlemen? This guy, go and play. If you go to the casino, follow him, whatever he plays, right? Because he got 8 golden point victories. He only won by 4, remember? So just remember how I got beaten. But, you know, a winner's a winner, so you just go bad, like I tipped him.
Winners are grinners. I think we've been doing the Space Giants tipping contest for 5 years now.
About
3 of the 5. Peter Connors 2, and you've just kept everybody honest for 5 years, mate.
Mate, I've been the elusive bridesmaid, and if I ever win it, as long as I'm chewing away at your bloody ankles.
Well, I reckon you make a better bridesmaid than the French maid anyway. So
you'd be surprised. Don't push your luck, son.
Now, thinking about bridesmaids, can you please explain and give me your honest opinion in regards to your Newcastle Knights performance for the year? Because I guess before the grand final, you've got to look at the other end of the spectrum, and that was Newcastle's grand wooden spoon.
Okay, well, they started out not too bad. They won a couple of games, but once you lose your linchpin players, Ponga, once he was gone, then they lost Bradman Best. He done his hammy again. I mean, I explained to the people why I only have $1 and $1.50 parlays now, because when I was having $100 to $150 on try scorers, they were pulling the hamstring. And you don't get your money back for hamstrings.
Look, I think it's a good thing they got rid of the coach. I think
the coach was.
It is a bit of a basket case.
Yeah.
I don't know. Look,
it runs deeper than the coach, but yeah,
Well, I'll tell you how deep it is. It didn't look like Ponga wanted to even be there.
Yeah, unfortunately.
His multi-million-dollar mate coming over from Parramatta was probably an insult, and I'm not sure if he really wants to be there.
Well, they also lost Leo Thompson, but he was playing flat for a lot of the year as well.
Yeah.
Their forwards didn't play well. There was a lot of discombobulation because of the injuries. And when the one that really killed them, which took all their momentum out of their sails, or their wind out of the sails, was Fletcher Sharp.
Yeah, Fletcher.
Because he was a prolific try scorer. So it not only hurt Newcastle, it hurt Epaw's main banker.
Yeah, well, he was your big X factor.
Yeah.
But I don't think he had enough X's. 4 X's wouldn't get him into the off the wooden spoon.
No, look, it's a shame, because the last 2 they really fought hard to get into the playoffs. So to come out with that at the end of 2025, I'm a little bit surprised. But can you believe I was actually cheering for Gold Coast to win that last match so that they'd teach Newcastle a lesson, honestly? And I don't, you know.
Look, if I was a Newcastle fan, the rubbish that they produced in the last 2 games,
yeah,
and they still put their hand out and get paid. Like if I produce that sort of rubbish in my role,
yeah,
they'd pump me.
Yeah.
And yet these players will go out there and they've got thousands of people standing there cheering and expecting some sort of effort. They lost self-respect.
But speaking of that, do you remember when the coach lost self-respect, what he said about the crowd? Do you remember he mentioned that? And from that moment on, Newcastle barely won a freaking match.
I know, dude. No, it was a disaster.
You can't say that.
It was an absolute basket case, the Newcastle Knights. So congratulations, Wooden Spoon.
All I give them on effort. I'll give them 1.5 out of 10.
Yeah, look,
The players that were trying anyway, and the one I felt most sorry for was not Ponga, but Fletcher Sharp.
yeah. And your forward that came from St George, always a battler.
Yeah, no, he tries his heart out. St George have got a bad habit of losing really good players, even if they're veterans. Look what happened to Stevie Morris when they lost him.
Yeah.
He went and won the Dalian the next year for East. Oh, well, that's a form guide you can't resist.
Well, look, can you bring up the ladder?
Yeah.
Let's have a look, because there was a bunch of disasters very close. I guess the next one we've got to look at is the Gold Coast. Poor old Desi Hasler.
Yeah, well, how many times are we actually going to say that, though? Poor old
there's only so many tackles that are missed and balls caught and dropped by Des Hasler. He didn't do it. They got heaps more talent in attack. The defence is shocking, but he's another one that's sort of probably a little bit outdated on the game. But I felt sorry for.
They had the players, Scotty. I felt they had the players, but they never seemed to gel together, and they were really hard as far as any-time try scorers was concerned because of their inconsistencies.
Well, look.
And really,
and I want to flash through these, but it's a real poor bunch. And I think the trifecta, and my sister Samantha, hi, you're watching, I know, and her little boy Chase.
Yeah.
Well, he's a big boy now. He's taller than she is. He's a massive Rabbitohs supporter. If he was here tonight, he'd say, look, Rabbitohs, their one dispensation would be the amount of injuries that they had.
Mm-hmm.
And I respectfully accept that. But for the bottom trio of the Knights, the Titans, and my sister Samantha's Dragons team, I tipped the Dragons at the beginning of the season with their buys to make the top 8, and I was dreadfully wrong.
Yes.
And I don't know, I think it's Flanagan. I'm not one for Flanagan. Keeps picking his son.
I'm not. Yeah.
Ilias in
another South Sydney reject, wasn't he?
But
was he?
Well, should Flanagan be there?
Well, are you talking about Kyle or the coach?
Kyle Flanagan, both Flanagan.
Both of them. Okay, yeah. Well, I don't think they should be working together. If that's a little bit like Cleary and all that. I mean, sometimes that's a bit incestuous as well.
Well, Billy Walters had a good year for the Broncos without his dad coaching them this year.
Didn't he? What? Wow.
So okay. Dragons, just back on the Dragons.
There's no ladder here, Scotty.
I've got it here, mate. So
you got it? Okay.
Can you tell me?
Well done.
Where does Gutherson play next year? Because, mate, he can't play fullback. Players were running around him.
Yeah, he was found out of position many a time, Scotty. The game's a lot faster now. I think you need someone just with a little bit more toe. But you can't rely on Sloan because he can't defend.
Well, they've got to fix that because, look,
he's got the pace.
Gutho could make a good lock, surely.
You think he's getting that old now? You're going to shift him into lock?
I'd shift him into lock.
Yeah. Well, he's got the football brain to do it. But
can he pop up 20 or 30 tackles in a game? That's the thing. Could he harden his body up?
Well, St George got any money? That's the question. Because they're going to need more than Gutho, aren't they? Really?
Well, they might have money. Maybe Warragul Care need to sponsor them. It's a bit of a pensioners club of the Dragons.
Yeah, I'll get them.
Look, the Penfolds wine, Red V in the 60s, 70s, and 50s.
That little Blakehurst hotel.
Little bit in
to take all the girls.
Little bit in the 80s, but it's not real attractive, is it?
The club, I think, is not very attractive. Have you been there lately? It's just all poker machines, but they haven't done anything to it. And Sizzler's still there, but it's a childcare centre now. That's a worry, folks, isn't it? You're talking about pensioners. Got childcare centres where Sizzler used to be.
Shocking club.
Well, I'd expect better from Peter Connors' favourite side compared to what they did when those superstars were playing for them.
Rabbits,
even in the 80s.
Rabbits dispensation, injuries
destroyed them.
Next year's a different year for them.
Yeah. I don't know where they go with the guy who broke his sternum, Campbell Graham. I don't know whether he's re-signed for next year. We haven't got any of that information because of the cut-off date, but he seems to have he seems to get other injuries now. It's like whether he's an injury-prone play, and he tackles freaking hard for someone with a broken sternum.
Yeah, it seems a little brittle, but I thought the biggest flop and the opportunity to stand and rise with the injuries was Jack Whiten.
Jack Whiten was very disappointing. He started off well, but yeah, what a letdown. He was playing a little bit better for Canberra, but I don't think Ricky wanted him around.
No, and they had Cody Walker out for a while, and look, you know,
so what
Latrell Mitchell is the world's next best thing, but how many minutes does he put on a game? It's not worth the money.
But it's not just that. He'll do something brilliant, and then he'll do something pathetic 1 minute later. So there's that inconsistency, and you can't do that in this type of competition. You asked me, what did you think of the overall competition? It was the toughest we've had.
Well, it was. It was one of the greatest seasons I've ever seen.
And I think the lead between the Monster Cup changed probably several times during the season.
Let me ask you one question. Who would you pick to play in the grand final tomorrow? Latrell Mitchell or Reece Walsh?
Well, that'd only be one question.
Okay, well then
one answer.
Well, then before you answer that, I'm going to ask this question.
But if you paint me into a corner, I will bite.
How come?
Yes.
Latrell Mitchell will make the Australian side for the Ashes this year?
Is that a known fact, or is just a rumor?
But I'm just saying you.
Okay. Well, has he put his hand up, Reece Walsh?
Reece Walsh is available.
Okay. Well, there's no question on that. And I think it depends on the result for the grand final, Scotty.
Well, I hear they're banking on Latrell Mitchell being fit.
Well, you can't take Teddy, even though Teddy's probably going to win. Oh, that's on tonight, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, the Dally M tonight. Teddy to win the Dally M.
Yeah, Ethan's got to be close for the Rookie of the Year.
Ethan Strange.
With Halasima, where he won our award here, Halasima, for every time we backed him, he collected for us. So did Ethan.
All right, let's move up this table a little bit. We got West. I'll put these in the sort of same class. We got West Tigers and Cowboys, and I thought Cowboys with their roster were extremely disappointing. And yet I was quite in favour of what Benji Marshall achieved this year against all odds, because that club's board is self-destructive.
Well, who's there? That guy, the big money man. And he's got a big mouth.
Richardson.
Please. I think that's the problem. But Benji Marshall, outstanding coaching effort, as far as I'm concerned. I thought he went. You know the guy personally.
Yeah, and I think,
and he's a nice guy in general. So that rumour with the Galvin crap, and I need to mention this, the brain, Gus Gould, lied. Did he not lie? Looking at you down the tube. Did he not lie to you and say, no, Canterbury are not interested in Lockie Galvin?
Yep.
Well, you
smoke screens.
You've got to be careful when you lie.
Mirrors, Gus Gould.
He's always went full of them, hasn't he?
Massive lie.
Massive lie. But that sort of came back when they were sort of trying to blame Marshall, because remember they were saying there's dissent with Marshall and was it Terrell May?
Yep. So, look.
So you've got to put...
Canterbury got their just desserts. And we'll talk about their destructive season
as we get
there. Look, the next.
So, do you want me to ask you? You didn't ask me about the Cowboys. I thought they had a team that could have nearly won the State of Origin, and they all gelled. Like they had great players, don't they?
They do.
From Thomas Murray to Laggy to Dearden to your Scott Drinkwaters.
Wouldn't surprise me if Thomas Dearden got really high up in the Dally M's tonight.
Most definitely, his State of Origin. Well, he virtually nearly single-handedly won the State of Origin for them, didn't he?
What's that? Is that
when he took over?
Origin.
He took over from your man, from Manly.
Yeah, Dally Cherry
Evans.
Yeah, and look, that's fair. That's natural progression. But can I just ask, is State of Origin, is that like? I know we're coming up to the grand final, but is State of Origin the pinnacle, like the elite within the NFL? Is that the jewel in the crown? Where we see the best.
I think playing for Australia was probably the jewel in the crown. But State of Origin is the pinnacle.
I'm talking about what is classed as the highest grade of physicality and bestiality and skill sets.
Well, we could leave the bestiality out of it, but yeah, fighting like
that sort of beast.
fighting like beasts. Yeah, I think it is the tough. It is one of the toughest.
So we're seeing the play. So how come the best player in the world, Nathan Cleary, can't compete at that level?
Well,
He's again proven that
he dropped a ball that led to virtually the winning try for Penrith. Virtually, to Xavier.
I'm not a fan of Roger Ramjet.
You're not, but I don't know whether you give him enough respect, because had he not played as good for those last 2 or 3 matches leading in, and the one that knocked out the Warriors, they wouldn't have got to where they got. So they would have failed before that.
Is it Nathan Cleary or is it the system?
I think could be, could be 50-50, but he did. But he did play outstanding. You don't give him enough. You're a bit like Teddy. Do I need to remind you what you said to
I know, Teddy Tedesco's mother got at me, right? And look, I don't get paid, but I'm on here to have an opinion.
Of course.
And my opinion was validated.
So what are you saying now that
the New South Wales selectors?
Okay, but what do you say now that he may win the Dally M to Mrs. Tedesco? Congratulations.
Teddy Tedesco.
He did deserve it, didn't he?
I sincerely apologise.
Yeah, but he did deserve it, did he not?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I don't think there's any future in Teddy getting selected as the Australian fullback for the series at the end. That would be more just a little pat on the back, sayonara. But they've already done that.
Yeah.
Let bygones be bygones and let the future take its head. But I think Teddy Tedesco, I think his game opened up because there was no pressure on him, right? He led the young blokes. There were no great expectations.
And they needed to be led.
And to me, he was well supported by one of the best coaches in the game, who's relaxed, very composed. And you watch his press conferences, he's very articulate, he's very relaxed.
Doesn't seem to get upset. He gets red. Is that from the whiskey?
No, I think that's when the barbecue gas exploded on him at Christmas last year. Remember?
I didn't know.
Yeah, no. He was
so he's been red ever since.
Yeah, the gas bottle blew up in his face having a barbecue.
He's like not a commie.
All right, look, let's
get on. So we went past the Cowboys, but I think I'm going to give them for their achievement, because they didn't make the playoffs. 4.5 out of 10 with the roster they had.
Yeah, I'll go.
Would you agree with that?
I'll go with that.
Okay.
I give a 5 out of 10 for the Eels, the Atlas.
Really?
The Atlas.
I know you're not a fan of the Atlas.
The Atlas bunts. We call them Atlas because we say bunts because we can't say the other word, but the Atlas guys, Parramatta, promise the world and deliver an Atlas.
Yeah, and that's very... Was that you or Peter that named that?
Peter did.
It was a classic, one of his... Hello, Peter Connors, one of your classics.
Hey, Pete. Yeah. Look, I think Parramatta, without Moses, they're nothing. And one man's...
That was proven, wasn't it, during the season?
Yeah.
That was proven.
And
the funny thing was, as soon as Moses came on, Dylan Brown started playing better, didn't he?
Yep. Yeah. No, look, Moses...
He took him off, and then Dylan Brown couldn't play without him.
Moses should be the New South Wales halfback next year, but it'll go to Cleary. And thankfully, us as Queenslanders that support Queensland will love having Cleary out there.
I would. Well, you put a gun to my head. A virtual gun to my head. I would say, give me Moses any day. But he was injured. Remember?
Yeah. Well, some players are just made for the Origin arena. Cleary's not, and Moses is.
That's your opinion, ladies and gentlemen. That's his opinion.
Right.
Whilst he hasn't proven himself.
He has.
Can you give him? Yeah,
statistically, he hasn't.
But can you give him? Can you give him one more series?
Well, he's just going to be another. He's going to be another Mr. Pearce that played for New South Wales.
Guy Pearce?
No,
Guy Pearce.
Guy Pearce. Wayne Pearce's man.
Yeah, but he had all the potential in the world, didn't he? And he got himself into a bit of a wild character. Didn't that bring his career down or not?
Origin can destroy you. We can make you.
But you think it destroyed him? I'd have to go back and see that. I think I switched off during that series. I know he's a great player.
I think that was during the 8-0 that when Queensland won 8 years in a row.
Maybe that's why I switched off.
Yeah.
Gets a bit boring.
Second to St George's 11 years in a row. And then,
I wouldn't compare it to that. Thank you.
And what's Penrith? 4 in a row only. But we'll get to that.
Next.
Very sad last week's result. But anyway, so Parramatta, I'm a 5 out of 10.
I'm keeping this guy on check because he's such a Bronco
The next
fan.
two teams, 10th and 9th, outside the 8. Sea Eagles had a bit of injuries, but again, they're another boardroom in despair. Turbo, Daly Cherry Evans, all that sort of stuff, that had to have a massive effect on them. But on the other point, I thought the Dolphins, you don't lose a game by 50 points or more and win the comp. They kept calling them the entertainers, and their halfback is sensational. He should.
Don't play light of all those injuries either, because they were to vital positions.
Farnsworth was another one.
Massive loss. That's like cutting your left leg off.
Yeah,
it really was, because how many times did he score? It was virtually every match. He was one of our greatest anytime try scorers. He would have been up there with Ethan and Hall of Famer for the year.
Well, if they had no injuries, they would have made the top 8 and squeezed the Roosters.
For sure.
As far as
for sure, so mate. Undoubtedly.
The Roosters got in there by default on the Dolphins' injuries.
Absolutely.
So I'm giving the Dolphins probably a 6.5.
So where did they officially finish, Scotty?
They finished 9th and Manly finished 10th, and I'm giving Manly a 6.
Well, I'm going to comment on both of them since you've taken the lead there. Manly were most disappointing. They only seemed to play really well at Brookie, or the old, was it 4 Points Park now? Very disappointing for them, but wasn't it funny, yet again, stirring the pot, when Dale Cherry Evans kept that secret that was leaked out to the people.
Yeah,
they started fucking losing constantly.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, things like the Lockie Galvin and which destroyed, virtually West and Canterbury.
Yep.
It also destroyed with that with Manly's situation. But who was the other side you mentioned?
Well, the Dolphins.
The Dolphins, outstanding. To get where they got, they just missed the 8 before. Newcastle knocked them out the year before in an incredible match. So they were unlucky not to get there again, but yet again, so were the Warriors. At least the Warriors got to the playoffs, but put it down to they've got great potential. And one of the most exciting teams when they're on song,
they scored
from the hammer to Herbie.
721 points they scored.
That's phenomenal.
They finished in the 9th.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you got to look, they finished 9th with a for and against of 125 plus. And the Warriors, who finished in 6th, only scored 500 points, but let in 496 with plus 21. So it was the Dolphins a case of when they won big. But when they lost big.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Look, top 8, Roosters. Look, I give them 7. Overachieved.
At getting there?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to give them 6. Because I think they could have went even one better. And they got whacked by Cronulla.
Yeah, they did. Look,
that was an awful effort, don't you think?
Yeah, well, that game, that semi-final that they lost to the Sharks.
At Shark Park.
That was the worst game I've seen Sam Walker play in 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah, it was. Was it the pressure that was built up? Because he was under a lot of personal pressure, wasn't he?
I thought that they
Cronulla just snuffed him.
I think they fancied themselves, but Cronulla's got some really good attack, and I was pretty impressed with Cronulla's semi-final performances. The Roosters, I just thought, look, their success stories have been Tedesco, and I'm not going to pronounce his name, but that freakish winger, what a highlight!
No one can need a Wazi.
Yeah. Oh, good on you.
Well, I had to call a lot of games through the season. So.
I don't know. I live down Shell Cove. There's a bridge called Wingdang Bridge. I reckon Mr. Wingdang.
Mr. Wingdang Bridge. Oh, what about that try that he scored where he was actually against the gravity?
Oh,
I don't think we'll ever see anything like that again. I don't know.
Well, I'm the only try that I think in the context that would beat that is the Raiders when they beat the Panthers in the last minute and scored a ball that hit the post. But as individual skill set, Mr. Wingdang, that try he scored, that's got to be the best try of the season.
When you're not putting the pressure on the leg, one leg, and he's not a small guy.
Oh, he's huge.
So to then change the physics of your leg going down, now that's a brain that's outside of the skull. To do it that quickly, to go, if I put my foot down, it's out. and then get run around try line. It was just amazing. But there was one other one that was amazing, and it was you're talking about brilliance to win a game in the dying seconds. It was Halasima's try.
Oh,
Burst like a bulldozer, mate. It was like a bulldozer going through the main city streets around a mid-city centre or something.
well, Mr. Wingdang
Mm-hmm.
is
Mr. Nwanganetawasi, yeah, he's going
back to rugby for the World Cup or something.
Not great,
you know. So
what happened to Suaalii? That wasn't the same thing. Suaalii,
Suaalii.
Saints, yeah. Well, he never came back. Will he come back or not?
Well, when are they?
I think once you lose them,
they just go for the tournaments.
And the money's big, isn't it? You know, pulling them out of rugby league. Do you understand why rugby league get upset and vice versa?
It's not, all the kids buy the jerseys for the winger, and then he's going to piss off back to rugby and then have a World Cup and then come back and play league again for another 3 or 4 years.
I have an email that just came in, Scotty. Someone wants to know something technical, right? Why didn't when with that playoff game when Kailero scored, why didn't they go for the conversion? Why was it dead rubber? Was it because they couldn't win?
Correct.
But isn't what? And my question was because of the person who rang in. Don't they have pick the score anymore? Because that'd kill you and pick the score if you needed Cronulla to convert that Kailero try. So you think it's just like a golden point? They don't go for conversion. It's just the field goal.
Correct.
Okay. I'll get back to them.
That's what I think.
Okay.
Panthers into 7th spot. Did they stuff up by saying we back ourselves to win outside the top 4?
They did pretty well. I'm going to give them, from where they were, was it in round 11? They were dead last.
Yep.
To put so many games back to back, I'm going to give them an 8.
See, I'm an 8 as well.
Oh, wow. Okay. We have similar minds.
I mean,
when it comes to rugby league,
I'm quite vindictive and vengeful when it comes to standing in the middle of Epaw Stadium with 15 minutes to go in 2023 after Ezra Mam scored 3 tries and seeing so many quiet Panther supporters, and then in the last 15 minutes, all of a sudden, boom.
So yours is vengeance, being a Bronco.
So for me,
form of vengeance.
I couldn't, if nothing's going to inspire, then a loss. But I think the Broncos have matured in 2 years, so we'll get to that. But look, Panthers really, really good valiant effort. I think it was good coaching by Ivan Cleary. I think there's lots of pressure on some of the players. Isaiah Yo-Yo had a good year. I thought perhaps the player that didn't perform as well in the second half of the season, even though they were winning games, I thought Dylan Edwards was pretty poor.
Well, his ball handling went out the door. And that's so much it's so unlike Dylan Edwards. But if you watch that game where they lost against your Broncos, there was 2 major plays. Now, and I'm blaming the kids. It was Blaze. Is it Blaze Talangi?
Yeah.
Is it Blaze Talangi? Is that his name?
Yeah, he came from Parramatta.
Okay, yeah, he came from Parramatta. Now, he ran out of the line and created one of the overlaps for Katoni Staggs. Did you not see that? So if you're going to run out of the line and not tell anyone else, there was just a brain fart explosion. And there was one other one, was the dropping of the ball maybe on the second tackle, which turned the ball over at a vital stage. I can't remember whether Broncos scored from it, but it certainly put Panthers under immense pressure.
Well, I can't see Dylan Edwards playing for Australia again.
On that performance, he played well on that day, but not backed up by the rest of his spine, I believe. I don't think it was a great game for Cleary, and evident that he dropped that ball that led to the amazing try.
That's right. Look, I reckon. And the other bloke I admired in Penrith was Mitch Kenny. I thought Mitch Kenny
is the best defender. If he doesn't get the top tackle count, just have a look at his work rate. He's amazing. He's one of my favourite defenders in the game.
I'm going to give the Wars.
Yeah.
Who finished in 6th spot.
They finished 6th.
You're
going to get them high, I reckon.
I'm giving them 9.
I'm going to give them 9.5. Half because
sentimental favourites. You got to feel sorry for them. But look,
But to even get the playoffs was a miracle as well. They won some games they shouldn't have won with half their bench. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they always had a good bench. I mean, you got Lika Hallerseman not starting. That guy's a freak of nature.
Look, I think if they had half the heart, right?
Yeah.
Half the heart.
Yeah.
That the Newcastle Knights showed, they would have been down the wooden spoon. So there's a lot of games there that they had.
They're a proud nation, proud team. You know, we've got a lot of supporters here. There's a few guys you'd like to pay mention to them, Scotty. We've got a few Wars fans here.
Yeah, I've got someone saying here, what went wrong with Mr. Wingdang?
Who was that, brother? Who mentioned
My sister.
Samantha.
What went wrong with Mr. Wingdang?
Oh,
God.
We won't be seeing Mr. Wingdang next year, will we?
Hey, Wingdang wants to be a wannabe, not a kangaroo. Oh.
There you go.
Hey?
Difference between a kangaroo and a wallaby?
I don't think there's any difference.
Yeah. Well, they don't usually come back to league, do they?
No.
So that's usually the end of the NRL.
Fifth place. Last of the out of the top four, the Sharks.
What do you say? I get sick of making excuses for them.
Yeah, but they got they got no extra gear.
No.
And what they did, I think they achieved pretty well. They're just there.
I think they're boring. And I like a lot of the players from that side. Adam Fanor-Blake, Talakai, he's a giant of a man. He's very agile to get put into the centres. I think
my best, get back Kennedy.
Yeah.
Kennedy, the fullback. I thought he's been their best player all year, Kennedy.
I thought he's had a hot and cold year. I thought he started up really well and then he went quiet for a while because I know with the anytime try scorers how they fluctuate. I can see it because of the amount of study that I do on ATS.
Well, I don't think it was any coincidence that
he did have a good game in that play.
Well, he did, and I don't think it's any coincidence that Cronulla started to play tougher, more structured footy when Cameron McInnes got injured and that Bailey came into hooker.
That was unique, yeah.
That's just a guy grabbing an opportunity. I reckon he killed it, and I just don't know. Again, with the Sharks, you don't know what to do with Hines.
Well, that's it. I mean, he's more hot and cold than your mother's. I won't say.
No. I'll tell you, means beans Hines.
And the old boiling.
It's the difference. Means beans Hines is the difference between hot baked beans and cold baked beans. I can eat hot baked beans, but I can't eat cold baked beans.
Really? Yeah, I used to love cold baked beans.
Nah, I reckon Hines is
they're better on toast.
He's been cold baked beans all year.
Yeah, well,
so try and talk him up.
Well, you could always get $4.75 every time he scored because he was so inconsistent. You'd always get good odds, but I couldn't catch him.
Now, everyone said that the Broncos were inconsistent.
You're giving them out of 10 the Cronulla. Surely not more than 6.
No, look, I think they're 7.5 for their performance.
All right,
I was actually impressed with them. And to win 2 semis, I thought that was okay.
Well, I need to bring a thorn out into your side here. Is it not the guy that does the draw that gets these teams having easier draws to get into the situation they are?
Like the bloke that pulls a rabbit out of the hat.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Whoever
well, they televised the FIFA World Cup draws.
It's not that big yet, is it? I mean, FIFA's big.
Well,
soccer, it's the biggest league going there.
League's got to be the most watched sport in Australian footy season.
The Yankees are betting more on it. That is a good thing. The Yankees, because that's why they start in Las Vegas every year.
Would you watch the televised draw?
Of the draw?
Yeah.
If I knew it was going to be fair, but didn't Canberra get a little bit of a soft touch for the whole season or not?
I don't think they pull it out of a hat.
And Cronulla?
I think they just structure all the games so that they've got feature games and Indigenous round.
Yeah, it is a tough look. It's a tough job.
I think they fit all those teams into those games and then make sure that they've got, like on Anzac Day, they've got Melbourne versus Warriors and all that, and St George versus Roosters, and then they just fill all the holes.
Yeah. But I still think there could be some better way of doing it.
Well, there has to be a fairer way. The Sharks have had a bloody easy draw.
And that's why I'm only marking them 6.5. Scotty gave them more, but on their performance, 6.5.
No, because the two games they won, it was probably their best semi-final performance. They'd won 1 out of 8 games or something, and this year they played in 3 and won 2. So look,
Melbourne were outstanding there as well.
Yeah, they were, and they had a week's rest, and they didn't. And the Sharks didn't get pumped in that game either.
Well, here's that question again about the draw. The week's rest is very important, isn't it? Is it not? The way Broncos finished off when you had 60 more tackles in that playoff, right? The prelim, Panthers and your boys. Really, that can gas you unless you get that momentum where you score a try. And yes, once they got the try, they sort of overrode that level of fatigue. But it must have been the fitness and that week's rest that's helped both sides get through to the grand final.
Absolutely. You have to be fit because you have a week off, you're not hardened.
Yeah.
And look at what happened to the Raiders. They probably made a fatal mistake resting all their players in the last round.
It was. Peter also pointed that out. The three of us agreed with that. So the guys totally agreed with that.
They went straight into their semi, and I reckon if all their players had hardened up and played the week before,
for sure,
and rested the same week in round 26 that the Panthers did, they might have got away in the last stages of the game, and it wouldn't have gone as long as it did.
But we are where we are.
We are where we are. So Broncos, the inconsistent team. Consistently, you've got to be consistent to make the top 4 in a competition that was so flat out competitive this year.
They'd had that bit. What do you put that spot down where they had that little chink in the middle? It wasn't. They went off form for a while. And they lost games they shouldn't have lost. What do you put that down to?
You know when teams say we had that loss leading into the semis that we really needed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think,
what do you think about that?
I think Madge had to pull them back a little bit.
He's a freaking great coach. Let's admit that.
Look, he
won a freaking State of Origin series last time he was New South Wales coach.
He's turned it around. He did what he did with the Tigers, and then got punted from there. Then he gets the New South Wales gig and does that.
I don't think anyone could coach the Tigers. Just backing your statement, though.
Yeah, well.
But he's done well.
No support. And then with the Broncos,
yeah,
he trained them hard. They're fit. And look, I reckon the players eventually had to buy in.
Well,
and they've bought in, and now they're a happy club. And you can just see, you got to find your feet.
But who was it when you rang me before the start of the match? Who was it that I said will ignite the side? Tony Staggs. If he lives,
saying that if the early part of the game, if he's in Beastmaster mode, right,
and he was against Canberra. Remember that first try?
Well, that justifies that decision. They let Herbie Farnsworth go. Everybody's saying, "Oh, how come they let Herbie Farnsworth go?" If he's made, you know why? Because of the money.
Yeah.
So then they get Tony Staggs' value for money, and then he's supported with Jesse Arthurs, Dane Mariner, and then Shibasaki.
I just can't get it.
Well, he's 18th man this weekend.
Yeah.
Also, it's just...
So he might get a run if there's a late injury.
Bulldogs, 3rd spot.
Most disappointing, but I was agreeing with you from the moment that Phil Gould lied to the public. I was in agreement to you. This is going to come back and bite them. But one of your things that you pointed out to us on one of our much earlier programs in the first part of the year was they've beaten no one. And that gelled in my head. And I thought, Scotty's right there. Well, look, they didn't beat really anyone, and it proved later on in the season. I mean, I think the kids played really well. The young players played really well for them.
Yeah.
But then once you lose Crichton for a playoff series, it's like losing your leg.
Yeah, I thought their best player of the year was that, is it the second row, Preston?
Phenomenal, mate. Phenomenal.
He will go on tour this year.
I'm with you. I think
he was outstanding.
Yeah.
Look, Bronson Cherry was injured here and there. I thought
not a great year for Bronson compared to what good year, but injuries, it's going to slow you down.
And I thought Connor Watson was great.
The fullback? Not too bad. I think because all this constant changing of the Galvin. Is he in? Is Hayward in? One of the first two things I said to you was I wouldn't have Hayward.
Yep.
And you agreed with that Reid Marnie was much better out of dummy half.
Yep.
And I wouldn't have had Galvin and kicked out Sexton. When they brought him back, it was all over bar the shouting. It was too late.
Yeah, and that's another.
Too late.
The Reid Marnie saga was another saga they had to deal with.
Another saga.
But I've got to say, my conspiracy theory is this:
you don't have many
for self-preservation and for not wanting to lose his job. I reckon the coach sat there and copped it up the backside with the Lockie Galvin decision. And I reckon he would have been sitting there watching Lockie Galvin and having Toby Sexton out going, I know what I want to be, but I've got to do as I'm told.
Yeah. You sense that at that club. You do sense that. That girl's just got too much power.
I don't think Geraldo really had much say in it. And I reckon
have you ever found anyone that looks more like Martin Lumsden than
we got
Madge looks like stuff.
Oh, please. We're mentioning friends now.
Yeah, sorry. We're going off.
Now we've lost a bit of sound here.
Have we?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all right. It's probably over pitch. Hang on. Let's stop that. And then we'll hit record again. Just tell me if it's on cue.
No, there's lost sound.
Nope. Hang on. All right. So, how you going there?
No, lost sound.
Okay. All right. No, you've lost it in there, have you?
Yep.
Okay. How's that now?
Yep.
You got it?
I can hear you a little bit. Yep.
You got it?
Yep,
okay.
Cool.
All right, mate. So we're back to how Canterbury. What do you rate Canterbury season?
No, I think we've still got loss of sound. Look.
All right. Keep going, mate.
Okay.
Is that better?
Yep, I can hear you now.
Okay. All right. Yep. Thank you. We just had a little bit of technical issue. So what was your rating for Canterbury and all the Lockie Galvin incident, what have you?
I thought it was a debacle, mate. Even though they finished third, I gave them a 5.
Wow. Yeah, I'm with you. Considering they got Matt Burton, Steve Crichton, the young kid Jacob, a little bit disappointing. I'll probably give them 5.5 just for the players that tried when others weren't trying. I'm not a big fan of Kiraz either. Sorry.
No.
I just think he's too hot and cold. And I actually feel sorry for Blake Wilson. He was playing really good the year before, and I don't know why he just couldn't get us a run.
Yeah, they've still got a lot of work to do.
A lot of work to do.
Storm finished second. They've been probably the favourites all year.
Were you amazed that Jerome Hughes got the run? It screwed me up for any time try scorer. I didn't know whether to put him in or not, and I always have him.
He's had massive recovery. Look, if you can get a Dally M Player of the Year half fit on the field in big games like that.
So you think it was just more mental?
Yeah,
more mental that he was on there because he got hit with a beauty by Braden Trendle. I saw that tackle today, and he opened his lip right up. Bang!
Yeah.
Little Braden thought, "I'm going to show you."
But look, you're a tough little lad.
Tough little lad. But how's that going to go in the grand final? Because he's still going to be wearing that guard. But isn't it his shoulder and his forearm?
Well, he broke his forearm, and he's still got his injury with his shoulder.
Look, someone just has to. One of your big forwards. You know the biggest man I've ever seen alive, apart from the guy that plays for Melbourne, Big Solomon, is Jordan. No, someone that's bigger than him. Potentially, I'm saying. Number 17.
Ben Tolte.
No, Jordan something.
Jordan Ricky.
Not Jordan Ricky. We'll find out who it is, folks. He's a giant of a man. He got a run the week before. He's only on for a short period. Giant of it. Jaden Hunt.
Oh, Jaden.
Crikey's, mate. That guy's a beast. Like Cyclops out of Lost in Space. Look, wait till that guy grows up. My God. Now there's a killer. Imagine bringing him on when everyone's fatigued in the grand final. I'd bring on Cyclops.
I think that's why they got
He's probably
actually
reserve.
Ben Tolte.
He's not going to get the run, is he?
He didn't get the run. Xavier Willison got the run. So
that's why we won't see the giant. But for going forward next year, Scotty, I want you to mark him down in your ATTS
Jaden Hunt
for value, because you're going to get 10s, 6s. At worst, you'll get 6-1.
Raiders out the back door, minor premiers.
Oh, look.
Easy draw.
I know, but I really like Ethan Strange. I'm a massive Ethan Strange fan. You know, I have been for a while, and I love KO Weeks. I never forget that try, the little chip through try in that wet conditions in Melbourne. I think it might have been, or it could have even been in Canberra. I don't remember, but I think it was a little chip and called Pappy out of place, and it bounced back into his hands. That was a classic try. That was when they were really flying. I thought Canberra, but yet again, the one thing I did mention to you when we spoke before the playoffs was their inexperience. Was it going to come back to haunt them? And it did. And Somali was dropped the ball from the kickoff, which gave Broncos the breath of life, I believe.
Look, I gave him an 8.5. I thought it was a pretty good season for him in consideration. But
and wasn't it funny? It was that they were in the first game of the Las Vegas one, and both you and I tipped the loser.
Yeah,
we tipped the Warriors.
Yeah,
because we had a feeling they had the players, the young players, to go well, but they didn't stop losing after that.
Look, I think out of that top 8, the difference was I ruled everybody out except 3 teams.
Okay, what was that?
First team was Penrith. I did not rule out. I did not rule out the Broncos, and I did not rule out the Storm. And the reason was because all 3 of those teams, Storm, were ugly and still winning games.
He's lying. I need to bring you back to round 6.
They were ugly and winning games, but they have another gear. The
Broncos
have another gear. The Panthers,
they should,
had another gear.
Yeah.
The Sharks can't play any better.
No.
The Raiders couldn't play any better.
No.
Right?
Not with their experience.
The Roosters were playing above their ability.
For sure.
The Wars couldn't play any better.
But I need to bring you back just one stride. Pull you back just for a second. I did ask you, and I've got the evidence if we want to show it in the recap later on. I do, and you know my race caller's memory. I don't forget shit like this. Scotty, I asked him, and he had the most worried look on his face being a crazy Bronco fan. And you remember this question. I said, can Panthers win their next premiership? And are you worried about it? And he took about 40 seconds to answer me.
No.
You did say no.
I did say no.
Yeah.
I did say no. But
you were worried about them, weren't you? And why wouldn't you be?
Let's
how far they came.
Let's talk about a couple of games. I thought Melbourne Storm were clinical, but they had the easier side of the draw. They got rid of the Dogs, right?
Yep.
And then they had to get rid of the Sharks.
Yes.
So they were clinical without being fanatical and skillful and out of the box.
Mm-hmm.
But the way the Broncos have defeated, they win this premiership beating the Raiders in 94 minutes, beating the Panthers up to being 14 points down. Excuse me, and then having to beat Melbourne Storm, who are the favourites. It's a massive premiership win. But for all those Raiders supporters, the thing that pissed me off in that game was how everyone was saying, oh, poor Reece Walsh, he should have been sent off, the refereeing was rigged, he threw in that little headbutt and everything like that. The Canberra Raider bloke in round 3 headbutted someone and knocked a tooth out, and he didn't get sent off. And all the Canberra supporters, I was saying, okay, you rested all 16 players in the last round, so you've had a week off. You're playing in a hostile environment with a great home ground advantage in Canberra. You're playing the Brisbane Broncos with 11 players. You lead 28-14 or something, 28-12. We've got 2 players in the bin, and you're saying that your whole game is determined on not allowing Reece Walsh to come back from being sin-binned and obliterating your whole scoreline, team and result within 15 minutes single-handedly on his own. They should have won that game. And the lack of experience resulted in that.
If you listen to my call, and you can listen to all the archive calls, you can hear me saying, don't do this, don't play like this. Because I could see Canberra were taking the foot off the accelerator.
Mhm.
After that, was it the fullback's try?
Yep.
KO? I thought, don't do this. And they started playing a bit slower. I'm thinking, mate, it's not 5 minutes to go. There was enough time for the Broncos to come back. But there was one refereeing decision, and I hope he doesn't get the grand final. You might have more information being a part of the refereeing industry. Will he get the grand final? Number one, Ashley Klein.
No.
Because I thought his on-field decision was a try to Jetty Stewart, correct?
Yeah,
and then the bunker guys, and they've had some shockers. I think his name's Butler. I don't like to mention on this because it's like saying poison every time I mention it. Some of his decisions were awful, but pound for pound, the best sides are in the grand final.
Yeah, and he's made some decisions, Ashley Klein, and he's been punted. So the grand final referee is Graham Atkins.
Right. It's not going to be G?
And Graham Atkins is the guy that did the Broncos and Panthers game the other night.
Yeah.
But in that game, and again, the Panthers supporters are blowing up trumps. How the bunker didn't even refer to the first try being a knock-on or not is beyond me. When the winger scored in the first try and it was a knock-on, but no one saw nothing. Yeah. They then let players have got to get pushed down 3 times while Penrith, they had pillows full of duck feathers while they were lying over the Broncos in the ruck area, but they got away with that. But the one thing that referee did, Graham Atkins, which to me, he gave them game flow, but he made one massive mistake. Why can someone third party in run 30 metres across the field and do what he did to Ezra Mann and not get sent off Liam Martin?
Yeah.
Because Andrew Johns was on the call, and I heard him say there are players this season that would have been sent to Alcatraz prison for that.
Jeez. Right. I actually missed that moment that he ran 30 metres. I knew there was a Barney, but the camera that I was watching showed different things.
Well, I thought he just wanted to keep 13 on 13 and that.
Well, yeah. I mean,
he didn't want it to be too controversial.
But they're a bit pussyfooty with that.
At the end of the day, the Broncos, they're hardened fitness now and showing that if they have such a strong belief at the moment that if they're anywhere within 12 points with 20 minutes to go with Melbourne Storm on Sunday, they'll run them down.
You think the Broncos can run them down?
I reckon they'll run them down.
Well, did we really talk about? We haven't talked about Melbourne's overall year. What did you rate their overall year? Because this is really important going forward.
I gave them an 8.
An 8, yeah.
I don't think they've been overly spectacular, but they've won games ugly. They've had some injuries as well, the Broncos have.
Yeah.
I don't think Pappenhausen's had a great year, to be honest. I think he's made plenty of mistakes. And when it comes to the grand final, the man that Brisbane have to watch is Harry Grant.
Absolutely.
He's the man that could win the Clive Churchill and turn the game on its head and win it. Everyone's talking Munster. Munster's doing some hard yards and that, but he hasn't done any of those clutch plays. But what Harry... I
like his inventiveness, Munster, though.
Yeah, I just think Harry he's the destroyer. He'll turn...
We just saw those highlights then as you were mentioning that.
So, going to grand final day, we've got the Broncos women. What do you think of the women's season? It was a 2-horse race.
Well, they're the Roosters are undefeated, aren't they?
Yeah, but they only beat the Sharks by a lousy 1 point the other day.
But don't forget what happened last year in that grand final. You two buggers rang me up and said, "Get back, Cronulla, go back to Endeavour Park. You're hopeless." I said, "Hang on. There's one girl that might turn this around, Tiana Penatani." You know, the funny thing was that I mentioned to Vesna the other day. I said, since she's put Gray next to her name, she's barely scored. Scored about 2 tries. Or don't forget. Listen, ladies, forget the hyphenated rubbish husband's family name rubbish. Go back to Tiana Penatani. But you know what it is? It's the pressure of doing. She's doing multimedia now. She's working with Channel 9, all that. Concentrate on the game, Tiana. But you knew that was going to be close because Cronulla brought back Quincy Dodd as well.
Yeah, well,
she's a good player, Quincy Dodd.
Yeah, look, I'm going on Sunday. I'm actually got tickets to the grand final.
You're going?
I'm going with my sister Samantha.
That's the first, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you get that one down.
So we're going to the game, and I think the difference will be is that the Roosters lost to injury the golden boot from last year, the Aussie chick number 7, the halfback,
Taryn
Aiken, and if you saw on the weekend against Newcastle Knights the form of Tamika Upton,
she is
on fire, mate.
Yeah, she is.
So I think the Broncos. Look, it's a big because the Broncos win the women's and the men's. It's the first time in the history of the NRL that a club has won both.
But isn't it great that you've got both of the sexes in there for the spectacle of the game?
Yeah, for the spectacle of the game, it's great.
But you heard what happened to Isabella Kelly, didn't you? Through the round proper, she got her teeth knocked out, and she got a boot in the mouth. She's got all her teeth held together, with some sort of metal brace. But she didn't have a great game the other day.
Well, they want equality.
Yeah.
They can't be vain and worry about losing teeth.
They do. Seemingly, if you go to you can smell a lot of perfume.
You know,
when you go into the change room.
I know.
Someone from Channel 9.
You know, Cameron McGuinness has got no teeth left. I think he's got one or two fangs. He'll get there freely on TV and look like.
What about Benny Hunt with his nose? He's waiting for the premiership and re-break it.
So the girls, they want equality. Let them lose a few teeth and get on and talk on the mic and not be so.
I still wouldn't want to tackle Isabella Kelly with those thunderous legs. On the burst, good luck, ladies.
Do you think, just on that, do you think that we're going to end up with the transgender?
No, brother.
With the because look,
there's a lovely gentleman next door. I like to call him a gentleman.
Yeah.
I won't mention his name. And but he looks really good with makeup.
Yeah.
You're saying, is it going to come into the sport? No.
Would they allow?
Well, that's a good question.
Would they allow sex change into the women?
Well, what happened with the Olympics? But what happened with the Olympics?
Yeah, I know, but there are some sports that are allowing it.
Okay. Well, have you seen some of those players have you seen some of those players already? There's a lady, I think her name's, I won't mention her name, but I think her name's Torfa. A Maori lady. My God, I wouldn't want to tackle her either.
No, I wouldn't.
Play for the Broncos.
What about the lady that was playing for the St George Dragons? Was it the Papua New Guinean lady?
Yeah.
I mean, please,
Yeah. Oh, there was another one too that played for Tonga. One of the she was hard to tackle near the line as well.
And I'm happy for the equality. I think the girls are playing outstanding, but
what about?
There's no room for feminism when you're making tackles and some of the hits that they're making.
Loving it. I'm loving it. What about Olivia Koenig? I'm picking her to get the what's that?
The Dally M.
Not the Dally M because she won it last year, but for the grand final because
the Golden Boot.
I'm tipping East to beat Broncos to beat Upton. I'm sorry if I'm going for them. I'm not going for them because they're undefeated, but I saw the way they dealt with Cronulla. Not just the game they knocked them out, but I think they've got the ammunition to go
It's a bit of a bogey, It's big pressure if you go through the season undefeated and then get to the big one.
It is.
Is it?
Well,
it's not the first time.
I remember Wayne Weatherall's father. Do you remember Wayne Weatherall?
Wayne Weatherall, James.
Yeah. I was the fastest forward in Sydney for quite some time. I won all the sprint championships. I always had pace, and I could keep up with Concodas. But that guy didn't give me a run in the grand final because it was undefeated. And he was panicking so much. And the guy, the coach was sleeping with the woman who came back from holiday, and he got my spot. So I lost my heart for playing football after that. I actually went to Ramsgate United because we had the St George V.
Yeah.
And they towed me up, man. The bright undefeated champions putting in a few punches, but that was my last season, Scotty. So I don't forget stuff like that.
Well, look,
They did do it. Undefeated.
And it happens, mate.
Yeah.
So, look, great season for the women's. It's going to be a cracker game. Broncos versus Roosters. I'm an each-way bet.
Who are you tipping then? We know you're tipping Broncos, but who are you tipping to win the player of the game?
I don't know if Taryn Aikens can be filled. Her spot can be filled.
The girl who's filling it though is making a big comeback, and they're saying she's going to make a big statement here. Have you got the draw there? Can we have a look? Just want to say, I know what her name is. A pretty fast girl with a ponytail, and she's making basically the draw. Yeah, and then you got that's it. That's all. Yeah, let's have a look at that side. Have a look at what her name is.
Corbin Baxter.
Yeah. She had a fairly good game last week. I don't think she's any Taryn Aiken, because Taryn Aiken was an amazing distributor. If they had Taryn Aiken, you'd be tipping the East then.
Yep.
Would you not?
Yep. And that's the difference. I reckon they're going to miss Taryn Aiken.
Yeah.
Look, and the Broncos, believe it or not, are $1.65 favourites.
Fair dinkum.
Yep.
But is it
and the Roosters are at $2.25.
But is that because of Suncorp or not?
No, it's not at Suncorp. It's at Epaw.
Oh, that's right. It's got. Oh, yeah. I keep on. My head's still on.
Because the Waratahs are playing the Wars are playing one of the Brisbane teams.
Right. Okay.
In the New South Wales Cup match or whatever it is, and then you've got the Roosters playing the Broncos as the second match, and then Broncos and Storm in the grand final. So
I think if I didn't like Brisbane, I'd want to blow up the entire lot of Brisbane up.
So I think Brisbane's form.
What haven't they won of late? Brisbane.
No, they
won the AFL. No, but they won the AFL. Brisbane Lions.
Yeah, I know, but let's not promote that sport.
No, but I'm just saying, what haven't Brisbane won of late? If they get the double header here.
Well, Brisbane Lions won the AFL flag last year.
We'll have to get Boogie out of Brisbane.
Get back, Kennedy. Get back,
Kennedy.
All right, let's go to the big game, because I think
let's go to the big game.
We're boring people shitless here, but
that's all right.
Anytime try scorers. Look, Broncos are at $2.10, Storm $1.74. It's an each-way bet in a grand final, isn't it? Especially with the two teams, with the talent that they both got.
There's not much in that price.
No.
So you didn't take the $2.15 last weekend?
No.
I thought you would have taken it.
No, not against Panthers.
Yeah, fair enough.
Although I know that there is
there was a marked respect for both sides.
Our mate Peter Connis's banking has banked on the Broncos.
Yes,
and,
the elusive ticket.
He's expecting a massive return.
Yeah, the elusive ticket, yeah?
Yep. And he said to me yesterday, he said, I have had to sit through the most traumatic experiences with the Broncos the last 2 weeks. So he got value for money, and he's still alive. Okay. He could pull out. I'm waiting for him to tell me, PC, with your ticket.
Oh, that's right. You do have a choice.
He can pull out.
Yeah. Well, look what happened to Peter Andreski. He didn't pull out because he collapsed in the shower. Which worked out all right.
I reckon with that ticket,
71,000.
PC could probably pull out a lazy couple thousand, maybe, or
probably one and a half,
or take the punt and go the whole hog.
It depends. I think it's. I'm saying that Ezra Mann is the linchpin to this game. I don't know why. All weekend I've been thinking if he gets more of a run in this game, it could cause some absolute. Because he's got a short body but long freaking legs. Do you know how fast that guy is in the clear? He's like a gazelle.
Yeah, but
when he's in the clear.
I saw him. He was really pumped the other day in the game against
he was playing a little bit aggressively.
And his defence was there. But look, I think with another game under his belt.
That's what I'm saying.
He's
going to be lethal here.
Because I was surprised. At halftime, I was saying, please get Reynolds off, right? And let's get the ball in Reece Walsh's hands.
Yeah.
But, geez, he did take the money play, didn't he, with the goal from the sideline?
Mate, outstanding. Was there any retribution in that goal from the sideline? Was it just purely for 23 or something deeper than that?
Yeah, I think what's deeper than that is I'll say it. You Bunnies supporters, right?
Yes.
3 years on, not worth being a lifetime club man at the Rabbitohs, and he could this weekend have led the Brisbane Broncos to 2 out of 3 years.
Party 7 says, "Let's go Broncos,"
and one premiership.
Yep.
And mate, South is probably the most phenomenal mistake they've made in the last 50 years.
More so than Saints with Morris?
Yeah, I think, look, Morris didn't have as great an impact on the players around him as what he wasn't a leader like Adam Reynolds.
He is a leader. I'll give you that.
So, all right, let's look at
the matchups. Let's have a look at the
matchups. Reece Walsh versus Ryan Pappenhausen.
Well, it's a great matchup. But you're still thinking he hasn't hit his full straps yet, Pappenhausen.
Yeah, look, I think he's been ordinary. I don't think he's had a...
And that's unlike you because you're a mad Pappy fan.
I love him, but I just don't know if he's there. And Reece Walsh is a freak. Some of the 15-minute periods he's pulled out, and even last week against the Panthers, he beat 3 players and then had 2 on him and still threw the ball.
Oh, the basketball pass.
Still threw the basketball pass, right, to Dane Mariner.
It could have been a disaster, that pass.
It could have been.
Yeah. He just took the punt to
himself.
Yeah.
So, look,
you've got to give him it for backing himself.
The wingers...
Just his immaturity. Yes, he's a young kid and all that, but sometimes the way he baits the crowd, I'm not a big fan of that. But it's being young. We all used to do it. Some of the things we used to get up to at school and after school.
So what if he wants to drink toilet water? We all did
I'm
not talking
about that. I'm talking about the tongue, when he stuck his tongue out after being sent to the bin.
Yeah, what? And they were apparently yelling out stuff about his daughter and
but you've got to be able to accept that, haven't you? You've got to be able to take a bit, especially from the crowd. Look at Skull.
Look,
is he still alive, Skull, or not? We don't know. No one's ever seen him.
I don't know.
Especially maybe his dark soul's up on the fence there at bloody Jubilee. That's why they're cursing George. From the Neo man.
What I'm going to refer back to is the tactical response from Madge Maguire when the Broncos pounced on the Storm a few weeks back in the last round. And what they did do is they escorted the high kicks. Melbourne can only score from high kicks. And they escorted, gave the penalties away. They missed the penalties.
A small kick.
And they did not give any room for those wingers, Xavier Coates and Will Warbrick, to get above them.
Well, that was their strategy. You could clearly see that.
And they did not score.
Yeah. But Melbourne do rely too much on that. And certain sides do rely too much on the tall players on the wings.
Yep.
And it's become so freaking boring. And a big shout out to you from Slavko Zapevsky. He said, congratulate Scotty for his Broncos to get there. They're an exciting team to watch. And thank God it's not boring, Manly. Melbourne and Penrith.
I'm going to say that Melbourne Storm's wingers in Will Warbrick and Xavier Coates, as opposed to Dane Mariner and Karapani, they're both ahead of the Broncos wingers.
Dane Mariner's try needed that individual brilliance, the way he stepped off the leg, put them all on the wrong leg, and he still used enough. He had enough strength to barge over. And who did he barge over? Lindsay Smith, one of my top players. He was gassed.
He's got a bit of speed, but
he's got strength as well, bro.
I think the Melbourne wingers are stronger than the Bronco wingers. I just think they've got a height advantage in the ruck area, in the air. But
Reece Walsh is not scared to go up though either.
Yeah, but he's a 50% success rate of catching it.
Yeah,
he coughs it up too much.
Yeah.
I've got to say, but when you look at, I reckon this is where the weakness is for Melbourne Storm, and it's in the centres with Jack Howarth and Nick Meaney. They've dropped Grant Anderson, who's now a Broncos signing for next year, and they're up against Katoni Staggs and Shish Kebab.
Well,
like
Katani Staggs, if he doesn't win the centre of the year with Herbie Farnworth and who was the other guy, Crichton.
Yeah,
I don't know how it's rated. I'd put him up there at the top at the moment.
Yeah,
no doubt about it.
As the best centre.
His strength. And did you see that where he broke away and he had players hanging off him, like one of those lion chasers? They get the deer and the deer's half alive and they're all hanging off him. Pretty Stays just said, "You're not killing me yet." It was amazing, and that created a lot of potential for the Broncos.
Like those Facebook National Geographic film clips.
That's what I'm saying. He was like that. They're just pulling bits of skin off him, and he's going, "Nah, I'm going." I'm still going.
I saw another film today. Just while we're on that, it's amazing. You
sound like cruelty doing it.
I watched this film clip today, and there was this. It said, "Who's the bully?"
Okay.
And it was a big African elephant, and an anteater was nipping at its heels, and he gave it a little bit of a kick.
Yeah.
And the anteater kept going at him.
Brought it down.
Yeah, and this big male elephant turned around and sent it with a flying kick in the next month. Right?
Like a football? Yeah. Send it to me, Scotty.
I just said, "Who's the bully?" So
send it to me. That is a classic.
You push and push and push, and then all of a sudden,
it's like when someone presses your wrong buttons. Yes,
not a violent me.
No, I never said you were, but I just said you can't press this man's wrong button. Now, the matchups, I tend to agree with you. Katani Staggs will win the centres between those other two.
And then in the 5/8, you've got Ben Hunt versus Cameron Munster.
Well, I have to say, Munster, his last 3 games have been outstanding.
They have been.
That little sidestep he did, and he nearly scored. Who was the guy that put him through the gap? It was one of the forwards. But anyway, I thought he was going to go the whole way, Munster. Oh, yeah, well, look, Reynolds' kicking game is invaluable.
Well, no, we're talking Ben Hunt against Cameron Munster.
Oh, Ben Hunt. Well, there's another one that's another good kicker in the game.
And then you've got Jerome Hughes versus Adam Reynolds. I think, geez, it's
a really good matchup, isn't it?
You're splitting hairs.
You are.
In the forwards, Stefano versus Corey Jensen.
Stefano, that was a phenomenal. When he had 4 or 5 players around him, they couldn't put him to the ground. He still got that ball out. Phenomenal. I think which led to Hughes' try.
Yep.
That was outstanding.
I rate him.
Yeah.
And of course, the other prop forwards were Josh King, and I don't think Arthur Beetson, because there was a comment today. I think it might have been Paul Sirenen, who said that I saw Arthur Beetson, and then along came Glenn Lazarus, and then after Glenn Lazarus came Payne Haas. And Payne Haas, he will be the greatest prop forward the game has ever seen. His game against Penrith last week, 80 minutes, 182 metres.
How many try assists?
82 post metres.
No try assists?
Post contact metres, no. But 46 tackles with no missed tackles.
That's a lot.
And he dived on the ball to save the try in the end goal.
Yeah.
He charged Cleary and forced him with the 2-point field goal.
That was amazing.
To pass to Dylan
Edwards is never going to kick that from that far. He's not a long-range kicker, but yeah, that pressure caused them to do that.
So,
and not only that, they didn't have Mitch Kenny throwing that pass like they got it last time.
No,
you need someone who's good as Mitch Kenny.
Where he was. He could hardly hear from that crowd up there. It's an awesome crowd. But I think at this stage, I'm still feeling Harry Grant, and this could give the game to Melbourne. But I reckon Harry Grant's got to be the favourite for the Clive Churchill
already. So, would you, even though you're tipping the Broncos, of course, you're saying he's worth an each-way bet there?
Yep.
So, you would say Haas would be your other bet if you were taking both sides?
Payne Haas.
For the Clive Churchill I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Or you think you're tossing up between him and Reece Walsh?
I think Reece Walsh or Payne Haas.
Right.
I think for Melbourne it's going to be Grant.
Or give me a second one for Melbourne. As much as it pains you to do so.
Do you know who I like?
Yeah, I know.
like-
You
I
like Pappy.
No, I'm going Katoa. At least Katoa.
Okay. He dropped that ball with the at a vital stage last weekend, which is unlike him.
He's a big lad.
He hasn't been getting those balls to put him through the gaps. I noticed the last two matches.
Well, look, they just play the systems. You got
Yeah, they do.
You got Sean
Chamblor.
Chamblor and
Had a big game.
Elise Katoa against Jordan Ricky and Brendan Piakura. They're pretty similar packs.
So they are, but they're big, mate. And I tell you what, Ricky wears the headgear because it keeps on getting me every week.
That's Brendan Piakura, isn't it?
No, Ricky wears. Ricky,
oh, yes, he does.
He wears the headgear,
and
he's been outstanding, Jordan Ricky. For the last two matches, I can't believe how many times I'm actually describing his name.
Well, I've got to tell you, Jordan Ricky, right, and it's KB Hetherington.
He was solid when he came on.
My sister and I, Samantha.
Yes.
We point out that it seems to be. You remember how we used to pull our socks up really long and put the electrical tape on them because you liked having socks?
I wouldn't play.
And these guys now unless I had them with anklets, right?
Yeah.
And Kobe Hetherington and Jordan Ricky play with these little white anklets, and their boots are black, and it looks like they're wearing Barter Scout school shoes
and going to Moorfield Girls.
Yeah. Oh, you're a sick man. Look, I think Ezra Mam and Tyrone Wishart have both impacted off the bench, I think, at number 14. But sorry, we should...
A little bit hot and cold, Tyrone Wishart.
We missed out on the locks. So Trent
Liero
and
been playing really well lately.
Yeah, but as opposed to Patrick Carrigan, who had a week off last week, Carrigan's...
Oh, well, Carrigan usually gets the top tackler every time I do the review.
Look at this bench. Tyrone Wishart, Lasardi, Kamakamika.
I'm a big fan of Lasardi, but I don't think he had enough impact last week. He had a bigger game the week before. Kamakamika, good for those big hit-ups. That's about it.
Alec McDonald.
Pretty good player when he's on song. Last week he was on song, but he did make a couple of errors as well. That's what you get with him.
I like the Broncos bench. Ezra Mam, Kobe Hetherington, Xavier Willison.
Well, I want you to remember, but I want you to remember what I told you for when you're there, that Ezra Mam could be the linchpin to the game.
Mm-hmm.
I have these intuitions. I just think, depending where he gets put on, I think there could be a play that he's involved in where people go, oh, my God, the Broncos are going to win it at some stage. But anyway.
Now, 18th man.
That's my prediction.
Like for like, we've got Grant Anderson as the replacement and Jesse Arthurs for the Broncos.
He's
a good defender.
But Grant Anderson's been under par the last couple of games.
Yes.
And not only that, his knee's totally strapped up, so he's not stretching out. I've noticed that in the call anyway. He's not the usual Grant Anderson.
So let's look at 19, 20, 21 and 22. For Melbourne, you got Bronson Garlick, Joey Chan, Jonah Pezzu.
Not bad.
He went really good.
He went really well, got a nice 40-20.
And Faialogo, right? But look at the Broncos. Jesse Arthur.
Yeah.
Jack Goswowski.
Yeah,
Ben Tolte, Selwyn Cobbo and Jock Madden. Like, they're players that have missed out. I mean, if Selwyn Cobbo and Ben Tolte are missing out on grand final spots, it's pretty thick depth for the Broncos.
Well, I think Arthur's he's been very unfortunate because he was scoring.
He's unlucky.
He was scoring try after try in the early part of the season.
Yep, 100%.
Can we just go for those bloody officials?
Well, what about Craig Bellamy?
Well, let's talk about the coaches.
He's got 48. Most coaches would be happy with 48% success rate in just winning a game. He's got 48% success rate of making grand finals in his 23 seasons.
That is bizarre.
11 grand finals he's made in 23 seasons.
And knowing how hard this competition was, that is amazing.
It is amazing.
And we make fun of him when he goes at the back of the box because we know he's expletives, but I like a man who wears his heart on his sleeve. And I loved that. Did you see after the game they showed a special on Bellamy?
Yeah, I watched that.
And every second word was, fuck! Excuse me. But it showed the human side of him, that he really wears his heart on his sleeve.
Yep. No, look, I admire Craig
Where
Bellamy.
would you put him in your coaches of all time? He's got to be up there, surely. Especially if Melbourne win it after losing last year to Panthers.
Look, I think he's had an array of good players and a lot of support from the league at Melbourne to keep it afloat.
Yeah,
it's an essential part.
Someone mentioned that the other day.
So when Wayne Bennett
they put the money
leaves the Broncos, like Sir Alex Ferguson leaves Manchester United, and then goes to the Dragons and gets them on a premiership in his first season, and then gives them a premiership the next season, and then does what he did at South Sydney, then comes back to the Broncos and gets them into a grand final in 2015 to lose in the last hit, and then to go over to New Zealand and coach New Zealand to beat Australia in a World Cup.
That was phenomenal. Right? With Benji Marshall, wasn't it?
Yeah. I don't know. You've got to wait. I want to see how good. Let's take Craig Bellamy and give him to the new franchise instead of Mal Meninga and see how good he goes.
Let's give Bellamy.
Give Bellamy the Perth gig.
Oh, okay.
And see how good his results are.
Well, how much money are they going to put in? That's the question.
Well, it's gone to Mal Meninga because that's why Kevin.
No, I know that, but it doesn't come down like when you look at the salary cap where they breached it. Wasn't that because the NRL wanted Melbourne to be a successful team?
Yeah, and they.
So may they not do the same thing with the Bears?
Well, they may. Well, then stick Craig Bellamy with Newcastle Knights and see if they don't get another wooden spoon. Like he's not going to get them in the top 8.
If I had a sentimental gun to your head, right? Because we love the game, we're sentimental about players, right?
Yeah.
Would you not want Newtown Jets back in the rugby league?
I'd like Newtown Jets
rather than Perth.
Newtown.
You can see why they're trying to get Perth into the.
Yeah, I know, but Newtown Jets and Western Suburbs got ripped off by the ARL.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they said, they can't afford to be in the comp, and you had Ken Arthurson and all those bloody idiots.
Yeah.
And what were they saying? Oh, you can't afford to be in the comp. You can't be afford, and we're going to kick Souths out, and we'll kick Western Suburbs out because you can't afford to be in it, and the money, and blah blah blah.
Well, Arthurson bought most of the players from Manly,
and then Ken Arthurson turns around, and as soon as Super League comes in, they can fork out $1 million for Paul Harrigan to do a commercial.
That's it. Yeah.
Why didn't they give $1 million to Newtown to keep him in the comp?
Because money talks and bullshit walks. And I don't think Singo's a millionaire.
Yeah.
He had a good bet on them when they led 11-0 at half time in that Parramatta.
Against Parramatta,
yeah, he had a good bet on them.
They had Phil Sigsworth and all them boys there.
Mate, Bowden's, who owned the pub up the road here.
Yep. No,
Great player.
I'd like to see the Newtown Jets. Grant Atkins gets a spot. Chris Sutton and Dave Munro. I looked at this today, and guess what? Your mate, Ashley Klein, is the senior review official.
Who would you rather have, him or Butler? Butler's been awful.
Well, I don't know, but again, I'd rather talent ID from Warrigal Care and get them to supply me with someone that it can at least make a decision better than Ashley Klein can.
But does that not concern you that he is the official? Butler's pretty bad.
Does that mean
Butler's taken? Hey?
Does that mean the senior review official?
Absolutely. He's the guy who say yes or no. We had a big. If you remember, we actually had a full special about the bunker funds, a full special halfway through the year because of some of the teams being ripped. It does concern you, doesn't it?
Well,
but Adam G.
You're putting a bloke
might let the game flow.
He'll want to be controversial because he'll want to back.
He wants
because he didn't get the grand final spot, so he's going to go in there, and he could.
You know who he reminds me of?
Decision.
But you know who he reminds me of?
What?
Another guy that loved the camera. Greg Hartley.
Oh, Greg Hartley.
But he loved the camera, and he loves the camera.
Greg Hartley loved Manly.
He loved that 94-minute game. Don't think he didn't like that.
No, he loved it.
Ashley Klein, but the next game, that Cronulla, with how many penalties were there? 11 or 12 penalties at halftime? You've got to go. You've got to go.
Shocking. So who are you tipping?
That's it.
And what's your head say?
My head says at some stage it's going to be very tight. And I've got a feeling Ezra Mann may win it for the Broncos. I want Scotty for you to win it because of Broncos. I have no invested interest in the game apart from maybe getting an anytime try scorer. And I'm telling you, my crystal ball, it's over there past the candle, is telling me that Ezra Mann may have something to do with the try that changes the game for the Broncos. But I can't tip Melbourne purely because of one thing, and that's playing with an injured Hughes. I think they're going to. I think those big forwards like Smoothie and Ricky are going to go for him early. And you know what? I would too. Well, I'd try and take him out of the game, even if you lost the player to the bin for 20 minutes. 10 minutes.
The stat is that the Broncos in 5 or 6 games have been more than 12 points behind with 20 minutes to go and have run teams down.
Yeah.
And they interviewed Madge Maguire, who's coming out of the sheds at half time against the Penrith Panthers in that preliminary.
So I didn't see that because I was on my own.
And they said to him, "Oh, how you going, Madge? You know, what were your words to the boys?" And he just said, "I told them to hold the ball.
Yeah.
Because we've got points in us."
Yeah.
And I remember you sending me a message going, all the Broncos do is they need to hold the ball. Right? And they were frantic. And
the completion rate was awful,
because their defence has been really good.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yep. So,
look, it's going to be an entertaining game. It's been a great season. I'm tipping Broncos probably by 4 to 6, but I think it's going to be I think it's going to be shot for shot. And I reckon we're going to see a really entertaining grand final. And I think it would be better than the grinding. So Penrith ground Melbourne out of the game. Broncos won't grind Melbourne. What they will do is try and outscore them.
Which is good for us.
Oh, it's going to be a great entertaining game.
For entertainment.
And, well, that's what happened. And wasn't that game against the Raiders and Broncos probably one of the greatest games we've ever seen? Like, it had everything in it.
I needed an ambulance after that. I think I went to Vestas and had a few edibles because I needed a breakaway from that. That game killed me. Well, because I was emotionally whacked from calling it, just going, how long is this going to go for? Well, hang on. And then I saw that. I thought, oh, no.
How do you reckon Ricky Stewart fell to the ground? Oh. Do you reckon there are any defibrillators left on the ground? I felt sorry for I felt sorry for the crowd. And the only reason it wasn't because of Broncos. I wanted an entertaining side like Canberra or Broncos to get in the grand final, so we didn't have that same sludge that we had last year. To me, it was sludge, wasn't it? Like watching paint dry. Yeah, it was. And
for excitement.
I'll tell you, I've got to commend him because he's entertainment. But it's the same narrative is that it's the world against us. You never listen to us. You never have faith in us. Ricky Stewart with his camera in the press conference.
You're not a big fan.
Now, how bad do you reckon he felt in that game? But the other
how was his 2 minute? How was his 2 minute friggin' press conference?
Yeah.
He didn't want it to go more than 2 minutes.
But what about his press conference when they lost to the Sharks? And what about the indignity of being in Canberra? Now, Canberra lost that game against the Broncos the way they did. And they've got to back up and have the Shark supporters doing the clap.
That was tough.
That would have been.
They were in it.
As humiliating as it gets.
You had to feel a bit sorry for Hudson Young because he put his heart on the line.
Yeah. Look,
is he not going away with the Aussies?
I think he would.
He's got it, hasn't he?
Hudson Young.
At least off the bench.
Yeah. Look, I think he deserves a spot.
Yeah. Now, is this the English tour? When's that kicking off, Scotty? Is that October, November?
No, I don't know.
Because you've got the Pacifics as well. They'll be first one,
and then the Ashes tour.
And then the Ashes tour, yeah. You're not going to the Ashes tour?
No. Europe's too dangerous to travel to.
Yeah.
At the moment, the world's shot.
It is shot to pieces, mate.
You know,
the amount of crap they're dumping in the skies around here.
I want to thank everyone for
walking around.
I want to thank everyone for supporting you. I want to thank you for putting this together. I know we're not the most professional and we do waffle. And I think some of our friends who know us will probably see a little bit more entertainment because they're aware of our mannerisms, but the biggest highlight for me was the amount of people that listened to you and me call the State of Origin.
State of Origin, yeah. Well, that was a classic, yeah. Only it was equalled the amount of people that watched us for that Canberra Broncos game because it was such a marathon.
I don't think anyone would have understood what I was saying if I had to call it. I would have got too
I
excited.
would have been grabbing him under the table a lot, ladies and gentlemen, and not where you think, just on the knee.
I was sitting
saying, move over.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
He would have been screaming.
So,
These would have been popping. Yeah.
So I'm not sure who would have or if they've named it, but Dally M, Teddy Tedesco.
I can't see Ethan Strange beating him only because of not getting the amount of games that he should have played.
Will Harry Grant get enough points?
Harry will do well, but I can't see anyone beating Teddy. If Ethan gets it, then
every week he would have scored points, Teddy.
Yeah, he was amazing. He was amazing,
and good on him. You know, he'd probably been a great ambassador for the game. He never got really involved in any dog acts.
No.
And I've got to say, Tedesco, he started very early in his career when he was with the Tigers, and he had nothing but injuries.
That's right. That's right. But I think he'll also be a little bit like look how good Braithen Astor's doing now.
Yeah, with Fox.
With Fox, I think he'll end up. Teddy will be. If he's not anything to do with coaching, I think that's where he's going to go.
Yeah.
Because he's not a bad speaker.
I'd prefer to listen to these sort of people than
someone with that amount of experience. What hasn't he gone on? What hasn't he played?
Who's going to be the next immortal? Lockyer?
Well, you've stumped me there. I'm way out of my crease. I'll have to get Peter Connors to give me a little molly grubber there.
So we going?
I don't know. I think Johns has already got it, hasn't he? Andrew Johns?
Andrew Johns, yeah.
Yeah. That's who I would say.
I'd take it off him with his drug abuse.
Jeez, he still talks about it on the TV, and I'm just going, wow.
Would Brent Fittler be entitled for an immortal? Probably not.
He did. He won quite a few. Did he win one or two competitions? One with Penrith, one with
Laurie Daly. You wouldn't pick, would you?
Laurie. I don't know.
I mean, that's the difference between immortal. They're more Hall of Fame status players rather than immortals.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, who's not going to get it? Lockie Galvin. I'm going to give the foolhardy award to someone that's in the media, and I don't give a shit. And it's Phil Good for lying clearly to the public. And when the other guy pulled him up from the Telegraph and said, "You lied to the public," he goes, "No, I did not." Really? Let's have a look at that.
Who was it? That Michael Shamus.
Shamus, yeah. I like him because he's not scared to stir the pot a little bit like himself.
It's that 100% footy sometimes. And he
gives it to Good. He won't let Good get away with it. And Good, you're not the bloody king of bloody. You might be the king of Belmore, but you're not the king of bloody rugby league.
Yeah,
just because of your brain. I don't like Scotty. I don't like liars. If there's one thing I despise in my life is people that lie and then deny it.
Yeah.
When it's all recorded on footage. But I'm going to say the player for the grand final. I'm in two teams here because I think it's going to be close. I would agree with Harry Grant as getting the award, but I'm going to stick. I'm not going Haas. I think he'll be instrumental. I am worried about his foot. Is that all sorted out now or not?
Perfect.
The foot's okay? Because that game before where he's limping off and limping on and limping off, I thought they're giving him the Changalang injection. Which ended up pretty badly. But anyway, I would pick Ezra Mann as the maybe the man of the match, not winning the award, but I'd say Harry Grant or Reece Walsh. And best of luck to you, mate, with the Broncos.
Thank you.
As I said, I've got no invested interest in the game. And even any time try scorers, you don't think there's going to be a lot of tries scored? Or you think 3-2, maybe 3-2, 4-2, 4-3?
It wouldn't surprise me if there was 40 points scored in the match.
Wow. Well, that's a big sweeping statement from you, because I tell you what killed us last week. Alamotti was the try scorer for that first half. Mm-hmm. So all the anytime try scorer people going, we're gone. We're gone.
Yeah.
And of course, I didn't have that big save for it, which would have got our money back. But anyway, so that's who I think anyway. I'd be having an each way bet on Ezra Mann, and probably going with one or two of the forwards. But I'm not investing as much as last week because that those 2 tries to Alamotti, although we had him in a double and a parlay, just presented no value. He's $1.75. I can't back odds on.
Are we going to get together for the Pacific Challenges and have a bit of a chat about that in the series?
Yeah, we could. We could. Let's see how we go after the grand final.
What about the Ashes games? Like, I think one's being played at Wembley or something, or one's going to be played at the new Everton field, I think.
You got a new field?
Everton.
Big Everton fan.
Big Everton fan, EPL, Everton.
Spurs here.
What time will those games be on?
What, on the weekend?
Well, those test matches over in England, like
I'm sure they've worked that out. They wouldn't surely have any cross times, surely.
So what are we going to be up at 3 a.m. in the morning?
Oh, yeah, somehow that's the neighbours around here probably won't like that.
Right.
If we're screaming out their names. Yeah, we'd have to check out the logistics.
I'd have to make sure that I took my teeth out of the jar and put them in. Like, imagine me trying to call the game with no teeth.
Well, I do have a funny story about that because we love commentators, right? Seemingly, it was Johnny Tapp who was the understudy, who ended up being the Channel 9's main race caller and the main broadcaster of Sydney racing. Johnny Tapp, and I think Kenny. Who was the guy?
Ken Callender.
Ken Callender used to do the tips, and he'd go and show you the bookies. But Johnny Tapp was one of the most accurate callers. But he has a very funny story about Ken Howard talking about teeth falling out. Just give me those binoculars, mate. All right, so cop this. Kenny Howard's there. You got John Tapp where you are, right? Right, and I'm Kenny Howard. And they're up the top of the straight and he's finishing like 100 miles an hour. And as he's gone 100 miles an hour, and his teeth came out and hit Johnny Tapp in the head.
No way.
Johnny Tapp was watching his understudy. Well, his understudy was Johnny Tapp, but I'm watching his hero.
Wow.
And his teeth actually fell out. And he goes, hey, down by the 200, like he lost them for about 100 metres of the race. But that is a famous racing story. And the other one that you love is your favourite horse, Kingston Town.
Oh.
When Bill Collins came out and said, the King can't win, Kingston Town. Now, the reason why he said that, because he was called the accurate one. He could see if it was going to be a photo finish or a horse would win by a nostril. The reason why he said that, Peter Cook was never a whip rider. He was always hands and heels, Peter Cook. But that day he rode Kingston Town because Johnson got time for pulling a few horses up.
You forget my other horse, Dulcify.
Yeah, I will get back to him. But Peter Cook's pulling the whip. He doesn't use a whip. See, and because the King was on the wrong leg. When he went round the corner, it's only a short straight at Moonee Valley. Have you been there?
No.
It's only a short straight, right? But when the King got on the right leg, then he put the whip away. He put the whip away and he just started riding his hands and heels. And the noise you will never be heard again. Even with Mackay Diva's 3 Melbourne Cups, Winks' 4 Cox plates. This Kingston Town the first one to do it, 3 Cox plates. The roar, he might win yet the champ. I still get, even just thinking about it, if you watch the video replay on YouTube, you'll never hear a roar like that again because everyone wrote him off. When your main commentator's saying that the Kingston Town can't win, and he said they'll probably write it on my epitaph, and I think they did.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's the racing story for it. I'd like to thank you on coming all the way from the southern coast.
Yeah, thank you.
Albion Park Rail. How far do we go down? Nowra, Bombardary, Meltsvale,
Berry.
A big hello to all those people. Please join us and subscribe, comment, because we love your comments. A big hello to Bishal Batadaki from next door, lovely gentleman, and all the people that watch us here. And a big hello to Vez and Samantha McLeod. Is she there?
And Chase, her son, and I'd just like to thank everyone's support, and we'll try try and mix it up next year, be a little bit more professional. And
Well, I'd like to call a few more games because that's where we get most of our audience from, and it's hard to when there's 8 games, it's hard to analyse it down for the anytime try scorers. We're going to maybe try and do the top 4 games of the round rather than doing the 8 because people are going, oh, it's long, man.
Well, it's been a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
I've been pretty successful this year with the Broncos and being the Space Giants champion. But you know what? The one thing about rugby league, which is I'm pushing 60. How old are you now, Al?
Well, I just joined you. I got my seniors card the other day.
Right. Well, I haven't pushed 60 yet. I'm 60 in April, but I've got to say this.
Well, you are younger.
All the years,
you young pussy, get out.
All the years that we've been following league, there's always next year, folks. There's always next year.
Yeah, I like to take it one step at a time. I've learned in my life to take 1 week at a time and not look too far forward.
Well,
because I certainly don't like the future of the Knights, no matter who they get.
No, but when you're younger, right?
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't watch the next couple of games. You weren't true rugby league followers. You're the followers of your team, and when they got smashed, like we went to Sydney Cricket Ground and watched games when the Dragons lost and everything.
Brookvale over
devastated.
Yeah, Brookvale over 40-0 with 3 points a try.
And we'd walk away from it, and then it was like our season's over, and we're thinking about next year. Our game is so good now that's
very good.
There are people that I've seen that were Penrith supporters or Rooster supporters that said that game against Brisbane and Raiders, oh my God, what a game, what a game. And I was lucky that it was a Broncos win. But still, if we lost that game, I'm still going, I've got to eat humble pie. But it wouldn't stop me from watching the grand final.
They ran fourth.
Our mate Victor, he's saying that if the Sharks make the grand final because he hates the Sharks, he won't even watch the grand final.
But Victor's Victor, probably the best square-gated tipster in the world. You ever go to the trots, hopefully there's a square-gating race or where they don't have the hopples, where they're trotting. So they're paces. That's the rule paces in America. But so they go into breaks a lot. Yeah. But he's the best at tipping them. If you ever go to the track with Victor, but Victor's a little bit of a turncoat. He used to be the craziest Parramatta fan ever.
Yep.
What happened? He suddenly jumped on the bunny's back.
Yeah, I know.
Where'd that come from?
I don't know.
Remember how crazy he was? He used to have
there was
he'd turn up with all his Parramatta goons.
Yeah, there was one time he burnt a Parramatta jersey or something.
I didn't know he did that. But remember,
anyway, got to break the 19-year drought for the Broncos, and I think the team.
It's been 19 years since they won it. 2006
against Melbourne, who were breaching the salary cap, I might add, and we were one of the only teams to beat them where they didn't have the premiership stripped from them because
Why didn't they if they were breaching it?
Well, there's no need to strip it off them if Broncos beat them.
Oh, Broncos beat them. So that was the last time
Parramatta lost to the Storm, who breached the salary cap, and the Storm got that premiership removed from them.
That's right. Yeah. So how many of Storm have been pulled off?
I think they got 2 pulled off.
Two. Yeah. So how many would have they won under Bellamy if you put those?
I think they said he made 11 grand finals out of 23 seasons with the club. So
he didn't win them all.
So I think they've won 9 they haven't won 9 premierships.
When was the last time they actually won, Scotty?
Would it have been when they beat Manly?
Yeah, it might have been, yeah.
And then
because Cronulla beat them as well, didn't they?
Cronulla beat them, but I saw an ad today where they said that Melbourne Storm have never lost back-to-back grand finals.
Yeah, but I still wouldn't buy that if I was a Bronco, because history's meant to be broken as well.
Yeah.
I never thought Kingston Town's record of 3 Melbourne Cups Cox Plates would be broken until Winks come along. What didn't that win? And the only thing I didn't like was the lady who owned it with her purpley blue hair. She ended up getting another champion after Winks. I think one champion's enough. No, the owner. So yeah, she's not short of a quid, but she gets another champion racehorse. When was the last champion racehorse you owned? What was it? Well, you were saying Dulcibur. Yeah, well, He was a freak of nature, that horse.
Could have had a good career, but died on the track,
Yeah,
didn't he?
well, it was the only freaking Melbourne Cup that I never listened to at school. And I asked your favourite friend and teacher. He's a science teacher. No, he wasn't. He was a
Maths teacher.
geography teacher.
Ryan.
Ryan. Who got his vengeance taken out on him when we left. They hung him out the window. They had to call the police rescue, and they burned his car out. And he deserved it. Did he not?
I got
He was a mad racist. Oh, yeah, but at Daly, in the end, we sort of turned him a bit because Daly was like a 1920 teacher going, "You spoke. We're not having a class today, you know." That's how he was. But in the end, he's going, "Quick, Ryan's coming," and he'd sort of save us from getting the cane. We turned it. Remember, we were a crazy music group. We turned that around with the Papadopoulos brothers.
Well, I tell you what, I reckon people are starting to turn off.
Oh, okay, that's all right.
Let's go.
Let's go. Thank you very much, Scotty.
Everything.
All the best for the Broncos.
I'll be at the game,
and we'll probably just post our tips for the grand final.
Yep.
Since we've done the preview, but don't forget to get on Ezra Man each way. And yours each way.
Yep.
Harry Grant.
Reece Walsh.
He'll be about $4, $3.75 to go over. So pick up on Scotty's tip. He's
probably into Katoni Stags or Shibasaki.
Yeah, I definitely.
That's where I said they got him in the centres. You watch. Got him in the centres. All right, mate.
Take care.
See you later, folks.
See you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Scotty, can you see if that says end? There? Does that say end? I haven't got my glasses on.
Yep.
And that says end?
Yep.
All right. Cool, man.